The Estense Castle in Ferrara is the most representative monumental building of the noble Este family, the house that ruled the city from the second half of the 1200 for over 3 centuries. Already in 1264, Obizzo d'Este was acclaimed Lord of Ferrara, prevailing over the powerful local Salinguerra family. The House of Este dominated the political, mercant and military scene through a conservative feudal regime. These guilds saw thus their search for autonomy, already achieved by many other Italian towns, repressed. Although political stability allowed the city to grow from the urban, cultural and artistic point of view, the people worn out by taxes and famines rose against the governors in 1385. Having quelled the rebellion and fearing the danger of new riots, the Marquis Niccolò II d'Este ordered the construction of a massive fortress in defense of his lordship. The castle never had to face external attacks, but became the emblem of the despotic and repressive power of Estense on any attempt at rebellion. Ferrara lived a long period of prosperity, during which the house received the ducal title and the economy flourished due to the redevelopment of vast marshes. In 1597, however, the last duke died without heirs. Pope Clement VIII took the opportunity to send the Estense away from the city and degrade it to peripheral offices of the Papal States. From 1874 until today, it is the property of the province of Ferrara. The architectural structure of the castle originated from an ancient lookout tower of the 13th century that the enlargement intervention ordered by Nicholas II had turned into a massive fortress more suitable for defensive purposes. Following the above-given people's revolt, he commissioned the famous architect Bartolino da Novara the construction of a new fortress. He developed the manor, starting from the fortress known as the Line 1 and adding 3 new towers arranged in a quadrangle, all of equal size. The towers were joined together by massive buildings that used to enclose a large interior courtyard. The building was impregnable, thanks to a large moat and 4 entrances accessible only via the drawbridges. Its location was particularly strategic because of its proximity to the residence of the Este family. For years, it was only seat of militias and prisons. Starting from 1450, readjustment work began with the construction of an elevated and closed bridge, the Via Coperta, linking the Duke's palace to the courtyard of the manor. Shortly after, the Estense family moved its residence permanently between the safe walls of the fortress that became a Renaissance court palace and the center of town. 3 small rooms, called Gothic rooms, lead to the ducal kitchens, built at the beginning of 1500. On the floor, drains for water flow are still visible, while on the smaller wall, 2 little windows served as vents for the big brazier on the side. The Estense court gave fame to proficient cooks like Cristoforo di Messisbugo, renowned master of ceremonies in organizing rich banquets, alternating with stage and musical performances. From here you enter the Torre dei Leoni, reaching the basements and the prisons. These cells, reserved for high-ranking personalities, guilty of lese-majesty, still carry on the walls many written signs etched by the prisoners. Since the end of the 15th century, on the first floor of the castle, it was created a lovely route through loggias, balconies and terraces, among which the Garden of the Oranges, one of the most beautiful and scenic spots between them, stands out. You are now led into the mirror apartment of Alfonso II, the last Duke of Ferrara. In the Camerino of the Bacchanalia, you can see delicate frescoes entitled to the Bacchanalia, or the propitiatory motivated parties dedicated to the god Bacchus. The choice of this subject reflects the taste of the Estense court for ancient decorations, aimed to highlight the literary and humanistic education of the Duke. Next to the Camerino, the ducal chapel looks like a small casket. So many are the precious polychrome marbles, platings and decorations that cover it entirely. On its vault, the recent restorations have brought to light the original fresco of the four evangelists. They depict the divine wisdom, and to separate them, there are four medallions bearing the Estense eagle. The next room, called the Chamber of Dawn, is the first of the three main rooms of the apartment. Its ceiling shows at the center Chronos, the time, around which the four time phases revolve: dawn, day, dusk, and night. The painted mythological figures represent a link between earth and sky. They are the celestial model of the earthly behavior which the prince had to keep. Alfonso II, moreover, was a strong supporter of physical commitment in favor of competitive challenge as an integral part of knightly education directed to military action. Everything is well pointed out in the small chamber of games, where, in addition to the main theme of the time, filmed in the dance of the four seasons, tender putti engaged in learning the first notions of art, music and gym are depicted. On the vault of the Hall of Games, finally, the representation of the arts practiced by the ancients celebrates once again the virtus physica. Through the subsequent rooms, you are led to the gallery anteroom and the governo room. While in the vault of the first small chamber, the octagonal canvas stands out, where a lively round dance of cupids and festoons of fruit triumphs, in the largest room it shows up the rich coffered wooden ceiling of different shapes, decorated with gilt wood applications dating back to the second half of the 16th century. The decorations of some rooms date back to the 19th century, when Ferrara had long been the province of the Papal States. In the Devolution Room, namely, the four paintings on the ceiling have a strong anti-Este family character, as they condense the main episodes of the fall of their dynasty. In the Landscape Room, it is appreciable the perspective yield of 10 strong views attributed to the school of the painter Giuseppe Zola, while the walls of the Geography Room contain significant topographic representations of the territory of Ferrara of the time, made in the first decade of 1700. The painted fascia on the walls of the Coat of Arms room is a further evidence of the pontifical presence at palace, as it shows the coats of arms of popes and cardinals tied to them.